Hi yogis, welcome to your first myofascial release class. My name is Heather and we'll be exploring 30 minutes of the major stops on the body today, right? So we'll start with a little bit of the feet, get into the glutes and hips just a tad, and then work our way up to the shoulders and with the face. For your first class, I really wanted to give you a little taste of each part of the body that tends to be a major stopping point for the general population. Usually people have issues with their shoulders, their hips, or even their neck and their face a little bit, right? Holding tension there. So I really wanted to give you a little bit of taste of everything today. So for today, you are going to need either the therapy balls in the toe or 2 tennis balls in the end of a sock. Have a blanket or a pillow that you can roll up. If you have the coregeous ball at home, this will be great for today. And then have a block or 2 handy or a thick book if you're at home, okay? So we're actually going to start on our backs today. And if you have the coregeous ball, this is actually going to go right underneath our shoulder blades as we lay down on the back. If you don't have the coregeous ball, what you're going to do is take a blanket and you're going to give it a pretty firm roll. So it's not super squishy, there's a firmness to it. So the option here with the blanket is going to go right underneath the armpits, so for a supported fish. And then if it's uncomfortable for your head to come all the way down to the ground, you can put another blanket or a block underneath the head, right? If you have the coregeous ball is going to go right in between the shoulder blades, right? Same action as supported fish with the blanket. You're just using the ball instead of the blanket, right? Arms can be out to the sides. And with either prop, knees can be bent or legs can be straight. Right? And same thing with the coregeous ball. If you have a little tension in the neck when your head drops to the floor, you can always put a blanket or a block underneath the head for a little extra support. Right? So take a few moments to get yourself comfortable. Take a big breath in. And a long sigh out. Especially in the myofascial release classes, we give ourselves a few moments in the beginning to integrate with our breath. Our breath plays a huge part in the softening or releasing of our tissues, of our fascia, of our muscles. When we downregulate our system with long exhales, big spacious breaths, right? Lets our body know that we're in a safe space, that it's not in a flight or fight mode, safe space where we can soften, we can let go a little bit. So take a big breath in, long sigh out. And we're going to start with a few rounds of our retention breath. So you control how long you inhale or exhale for, but you're just going to hold at the top and then hold the breath out at the bottom, right? It doesn't have to be this super long, complicated breath, right? So just take your normal range, normal round of breath in. Pause at the top. Soften the shoulders. And let it go out the nose. Hold the breath out, pause at the bottom. And take a breath in. Hold the breath in. And let the breath go. Hold at the bottom. And take an inhale. Hold at the top. And let it go. Go ahead, take a few more rounds like that. Your own pace, your own breath. When holding the breath in or out, make sure shoulders and jaw stay soft so that there's no heightened anxiety or tension in the body. Only moving through the rounds of breath that are comfortable for you. creating a pause, creating a space. And now after your next exhale, just take an easy breath in and an easy breath out. And start to gently wiggle the fingers, maybe circle the wrists, noticing how the shoulders feel, how they sit. And then your hands are going to come behind your head, almost like you're going to do a sit-up, but we're not doing a sit-up in this class, right? And so take a breath. And then on the exhale, you're just going to peel your shoulder blades up off either the blanket or the ball, right? And then inhale, let the head come down a little bit, right? Exhale, go ahead, lift the shoulder blades. Right, moving with your breath like this. We're starting to work with the superficial tissues, right? So just like when you get a massage, hopefully your massage therapist doesn't come in and just start jamming thumbs and elbows into your body, right? There's some effleurage, there's some light pressure, light massaging to work the superficial tissues before you go into the deeper spaces, right? This is exactly what we're doing here. Noticing the range of motion, but also getting out any crunchies, any sticky spots on the superficial layers. And so next time the shoulder blades lift, pause. Bring your right elbow towards your right hip, so it's like a C curve on the right side. And then you're going to bring your left elbow towards your left hip. Right? So moving back and forth, keeping shoulders soft, keeping breath nice and big, long and spacious. Right? The blanket or the ball is helping to pin down some of the tissues as we're moving the tissues around it. Hydrating, circulating the fluids to the muscles, to the body. And the next time you come back through center, go ahead, let the head come down, release the arms out to the sides. Yeah. So however makes most sense to you, whether you roll to a side or press yourself up, you're going to come off the ball or the blanket, move the blanket or ball off to the side, and then just let your shoulder blades come flat to the earth. Notice that they might feel a little more spacious or a little more even, or even just that the blades might feel a little flatter on the earth. Right? And now with your knees bent, your feet on the floor, you're either going to take that same rolled up blanket or your coregeous ball, press into your feet, lift your hips, and then place the ball or the blanket right underneath your sacrum. So it's that flat triangular bone at the base of your spine. And these are the two areas that we're going to work on after our feet today. So I just wanted to warm them up a little bit, right? So first, just notice the pressure of your pelvis on the ball. Maybe notice how the space feels. Okay? And then you're going to start a pelvic tilt. So it's dipping the tailbone down towards the ground like you're trying to like arch your low back. And then pulling your hip points in towards your ribs as you lengthen your tailbone forward. Right? So inhale as tailbone comes down to the ground. Exhale as navel into spine and hip bones come towards your ribs. Right? So just like we did with our hands behind our head and our upper back, you're just taking a few rounds of breath right here. Noticing how it feels and moving with that breath. Right, and now come back to a neutral spine. You're just going to shift your hips from right to left, right? You can do it on the blanket or the coregeous ball. You might get a little noise if you're on the coregeous ball, right? And same thing we're doing when we did like the C curve, right? In our upper back, you're just nailing down some of the tissues or holding down some of the tissues and moving the spaces around them, right? So getting them warmed up, hydrated, and blood circulating to them. Right? You can even start to like kind of wiggle your hips like a worm almost, not in any pattern. You get about 2 more breaths right here. Right? This practice really is like a self-study or exploration of your body. As you're ready, you can come off the blanket or the ball, place it off to the side, and just let the hips sit down. Notice if there's a different sensation than when you first started, right? I feel a little more spaciousness, a little more flatness, broadness, if you will. And go ahead, reach your arms over your head, stretch your body out, maybe a yawn flips out. Roll the ankles, roll the wrists, and then guide your knees into your chest. Go ahead, give yourself a squeeze. And however it makes most sense to you, go ahead, bring yourself up to a seat. And then we're going to come to standing. As you come to standing, take one of the balls out of the tote, either the therapy ball or your tennis ball, right? And before we get going, I'm going to have you come to standing in Tadasana, feet hips width, arms down by your sides, ears in line with shoulders, shoulders over your hips. Right? And just notice how it feels to stand in your body. How do the shoulders sit? Do you feel like there's more weight in the toes or the heels, in the right or the left foot? Right? Just noticing. There's nothing to shift, nothing to change. Again, it's like a self-study of your own body, right? All right, you're going to reach the arms up, breathe in, and then soft knees, just fold over your legs, right? So keep your knees soft. Don't try and hyperextend the legs. Just let the crown of the head go. Right? Notice how your torso orients to your thighs, how the crown of your head orients to the ground. Right? And then you're going to press into your feet and roll yourself up to standing. All right, now we're going to take this blue therapy ball or your tennis ball, start with the right foot. And the first exercise we're going to do is called stripping. So you're just going to push and pull. It's a front and back motion, right? So I'm going to turn my foot out to the side. You're going to stay going front and back in front of you, right? But I'm just going to turn it to the side so you can see me. Okay? So you can go fast, you can go slow, you can put some pressure in there, or you can start really light, yeah? So you may try one of each of those, see how they feel for you. I'm just here to give you options, give you some ideas, right? If there's ever a space along the way where you need to pause because, wow, this feels really good, that's really a great place to be because you're learning more about your body and honoring what your body needs, right? So push and pull, front and back. And then we're going to land the heel, right? So the ball's in the inner arch. And you're just going to take a breath in. And on the exhale, lean in, right? Soften the knee, lean in, spread the toes wide. Inhale, back up. Exhale, lean in. Okay. And moving with your breath in that fashion, yeah? Keeping the shoulders soft, right? Keeping the hands relaxed and noticing if your breath can have that naturally long, slow quality that we found in the beginning of class. Right? So right on the inner arch there. And noticing how it feels, yeah? This is usually a pretty yummy spot for a lot of people. Go ahead, next time you lean in for some compression, right? Pause. And then spread the toes wide. You're gonna windshield wiper your foot left and right. So the ball is going across the arch of your foot. So inner arch to outer arch. Spread our toes are spread wide, so they're not curling over the ball. And notice the difference between inner arch and outer arch, how that feels. Okay. And then bring the ball up to your toe box, so the space right beneath the base of your toes, right? And spread the toes wide, take a breath in, and on the exhale, lean in, right? Compress. So really important to have the toes spread wide here. So you can get into all the small spaces, all the little ligaments and tendons in between the toes, right? Really opening that up. Next time you lean in, pause. And same thing we did in the arch, you're gonna windshield wiper the foot. So left to right, big toe mound to little toe mound. Big toe mound to little toe mound. Shoulders soft, jaw soft. And now let's bring the ball to the heel. So you can either be right on your heel, or I find it most comfortable to be just above my heel, so a little bit closer to the arch than the heel. Same thing. We're going to take a breath in. Exhale, lean into compress, right? Compressing and then backing off. And notice that rhythm of your breath. Notice how the sensations in the heel may differ from how the arch or the ball of the foot felt. And then we're going to come back to that stripping motion that we had in the very beginning, right? Front and back, front and back. You can go fast, you can go slow, you can trace every toe to heel, like big toe to heel, second toe to heel, something along those lines, right? Getting to all the small spaces, yeah? And then you're going to step off the ball. Stand in your Tadasana once again with feet hips width distance. Close the eyes. Notice how it feels right to left. Right? It's a little more spacious, a little more balanced, a little lighter on one side than the other. And then let's take it to the other side, right? So ball in the left foot, start with the stripping, front and back. Again, you can go fast, you can go slow, you can add pressure, you can stay light. Find what's going to work for your body today. Right? If at any time you come across pain, right, especially on the feet, if there's plantar fasciitis that's inflamed, we don't want to roll on that area, right? So you would come off the ball. We never want to roll on something that's inflamed or in pain. Okay? So let's go ahead, land the heel, find the arch, and take a breath in. On the exhale, lean in, compress. Right? Finding that compress and release. Compress and release. I love starting with the feet, especially in the very beginning, because they get the most bang for your buck, right? So feet can soften the entire back line of the body, the shoulders, even the jaw and the neck, right? Fascia, there's a huge line in the back body starting from the big toe mound, goes up your back body and actually wraps around your head and connects to your forehead. So imagine how opening all that up on the soles and the bottoms of the feet can have that chain reaction up the back line of the body. Next time you lean in, pause, and you're going to start to windshield wiper the left foot. Right? Right to left, right to left. So I always tell people, even if you have just 2 or 3 minutes and you want to get something in, do the feet, right? You can do it when you're washing the dishes. You can do it when you're standing at your desk, right? Right to left, right to left. Notice how it may feel here different than it did on the right side, right? And so let's bring the ball to the toe box, just below the base of the toes. Take a breath in. Exhale, lean in. Right? Moving with your breath. Next time you lean in, pause. Let's windshield wiper from big toe mound to little toe mound. And as always, spread the toes wide. You can add as much pressure as you'd like or go as light as you'd like, yeah? Spread those toes, get all those small spaces. All right, come right to the heel, so either on the heel or just in front of it, and find those compressions. Leaning in on the exhale, soft shoulders and jaw, soft fingertips. All right, go ahead and find that stripping action once again. Front and back, front and back. As fast or as slow as you'd like, as hard or as soft as you'd like. And then go ahead and move the ball off to the side. Come to stand in your Tadasana once again. Feet hips width distance, standing nice and tall, eyes closed. Notice how it feels to stand in your body now, after just that short time working on your feet. Inhale, reach the arms up. And then soft knees, let's fold forward. Maybe there's a little bit more space in the hamstrings. Maybe your torso is a little closer to your thighs with the soft knees. Maybe the crown of your head can relax just a bit more. All right, bend the knees as much as you need to. Come down to a seat. You're going to take both balls out of the tote. And we're going to touch upon the hips, okay? So you're going to come down to the ground. I'm going to show you where we're going, and then I'll get down there with you, okay? So balls out of the tote. Imagine you are wearing a pair of jeans, right? So blue jeans, and they have those back pockets. One ball is going to go in each jean pocket, right? Now, I'll say this now, I'll say it again. There is no perfect spot for every single body. My anatomy is different than your anatomy, right? So taking the balls, lifting the hips, putting one in each jean pocket, and you may need to wiggle it around a little bit to find a spot, right? Find a pretty good spot where you're not in pain, but there's some sensation, right? If we ever hit a spot with pain, we can always move around it. We never want to roll on pain, right? So once you find your two jean pockets, bring the soles of the feet together and let your knees fall apart, right? So Supta Baddha Konasana in a traditional yoga class, right? If this is ever too much with your body weight, you can always put a blanket over the balls, or you can bring it to the wall and lean against the wall. That's a way to, find a more of a softer feel to the balls than all of your body weight on it, okay? So take a few more breaths right here. Soft jaw, big inhales and big exhales. Right? And then you're going to contract the glutes, right? So squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. You may find your body lift a little, right? Because you're turning on those muscles. Take a breath. And then exhale, relax. Right? Feel the muscles just melt over the balls like butter. Right? So inhale as you squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Exhale, relax everything down. Right? And once again, inhale. And exhale. Right? Really soften everything, every last bit. Now, you're going to roll over towards your left side. Let the left knee drop down. Right knee can come up towards the ceiling. Don't worry about the ball on the right side just yet. You're going to start to move your hips in an east to west direction, right? So we're moving with the muscle, with the tissues. We're working on the piriformis right now, right? So we're moving in the same direction, so we're stripping, right? Just a little movement. It's like a 1 or 2 inch muscle that we're moving east to west, right? And you may notice when your hips move to the left, it's a little more intense, or when your hips move to the right, yeah? Could be different for everybody. Then you're going to press into your right foot and start to move your body in a north and south direction, right? So we're cross-fibering. Again, it's a super small movement. It's not a huge movement, but you can pack a lot of bang in here for your buck, right? And then start to just move your hips in a little circular motion. Letting out some big breaths, right? So maybe groans or sighs. Noticing where those sticky spots are. We'll have a whole class on the hips later, so keep this study in mind, but we're just touching upon it just to give you a little taste right now. Okay? All right, go ahead, bring the knees back through center. Place the balls back, one in each pocket, and then you're just going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide once again. So notice right to left how it feels. You're going to dip the right knee over towards the right, let the left foot come to the floor, and don't worry about the ball on the left glute, right? And so you're just going to start to move east to west, again, stripping that little piriformis muscle. That muscle can play a part in sciatica, so if you ever have that low back or hamstring pain that is referred pain from your sciatica, this can be a really good exercise to help. Yeah. And then start to move in that north to south direction, right? And I always say, these are balls, they roll. So if they roll out of place, just use your hand and move it back into a good spot, right? Big breath, soft jaw. Start to move in a circular motion with that right hip, that right glute. And then come back through center. Both balls in your jean pockets, right? Soles of the feet together, knees wide. Just notice how right to left feels, how it could feel a little bit different than when we first started. Okay. All right, help the knees up together. Go ahead, lift off the balls, bring them out to the sides. Rest there for a moment. Big breath in, big breath out. All right, you can do the next one on your back. I'm just going to get up to show you where the actual muscle is. Okay, so we're going to come right up to the back of our traps now. So imagine you were like going to go rub your own shoulder, right? And you can do this on your back. Your fingertips will kind of go around toward your shoulder blade, and you can actually feel where the very tip, the very top line of that shoulder blade is, right? So just above there, there's this meaty portion of muscle, right? So that's your trap. The balls are going to go right into that meaty portion. So they're a little wide, and they're not close to the spine, and they're pretty close towards the very top of your trap, right? So when you feel this line at the top of your shoulder blade, the ball is going to go just above that, right? So we're going to come to lay down on our backs. Balls are going to go right at the back of the traps there. Right? And it can take a little time to kind of get them in a good spot. So if you come down here and you're like, wow, this is more than enough sensation for me, great, stay there, okay? If you want a little bit more, you can take your block or your coregeous ball or your blanket, lift the hips, and place that prop underneath the hips. Just elevates the hips a little bit more, puts a little bit more pressure on the balls. If you're down there with just your body weight and it's too much, come to a wall. They can be on the same position on the wall, you leaning into the wall, okay? Hands down by your sides. Close your eyes. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then imagine you're a snow angel, right? As you inhale, drag the backs of your hands along the floor and reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, reverse that direction, right? So drag the hands on the floor as if they were in sand or really wet mud, moving nice and slowly, inhaling as you reach the arms up, exhaling as they come down. Right, one more time. All right, next time, hands come down to the hips. Inhale, reach the arms up towards the ceiling and any amount overhead, right? So they may come to the ground behind you. They may be kind of just hanging out in space, and that's your edge, right? That's perfect. On the exhale, let them come down by your hips. Right? So just as we did with the snow angel, moving with your breath, inhale, reach them up. Exhale, let them come down. Right? And again, they're balls, they shift. If you need to move them back into position, go ahead and do so. All right, and then bring your hands up towards the ceiling. And imagine you had seaweed arms, right? Just moving in all directions, kind of willy-nilly. In my classes, I really like to give the example of outside the gas stations where they have those like big balloon inflatable mans that like dance in the wind. That's what I always think of when I do this. So I usually give that example. So whichever one speaks to you, just moving arms pretty free, no real pattern. Just noticing all that's coming up there. All right, letting arms rest down by your hips. If you're on the block, press into your feet, lift the hips, move block or ball from underneath of you, and let your hips set down. Go ahead, take the balls out from underneath you. Let your body lay flat. right? You stay down where you are. I'm going to pop up so I can show you, so you can look at your computer screen and see what I'm talking about, okay? So you're going to extend their legs out in front of you, sitting or laying down nice and flat, right? Maybe something under your knees for a little support. Now, you're going to take one ball, and we're going to work with some of the fascia, some of the muscles in the face, right? So you can put a blanket underneath your head or even a pillow if that feels good, right? And then taking the ball, you're just going to press the ball into any part of the face, right? And then just give it a little spin and release, right? So it's a little pin and stretch. It doesn't have to be super hard. It actually feels pretty good when it's super light, yeah? Just starting to wake up through the muscles, the tissues, the fascia of the face, right? Working around the eye socket, around the forehead, over by the jaw, right? Around the nose. And these therapy balls are really great for this because they're more tactile. They have a little stickiness to it, so it's almost like they can get a grip on the skin, right? And you can either stay just like that or just start to roll a little bit on your face with your hand. Right? This is really good in between meetings if you're sitting at a computer all day, or even just right before bed if you keep a ball or two on your nightstand. Really nice to start to relax and soften through the muscles of the face. Right? So you're more than welcome to continue this as long as you'd like. You can absolutely do this through your little shavasana that we have, right? Otherwise, you can place the balls off to the side. Arms either out wide or hands can rest on your body. Take a big breath in and a long breath out. Now, you're more than welcome to stay here for either a few minutes or a little bit longer than a few minutes, right? And my friends, I will leave you here until next time. I hope you get lots of rest tonight and drink plenty of water, and I will see you soon. Namaste.